Hi, I'm Guillermo, senior video producer for Chowhound. Hummus is convenient to buy from a store, but until you've made it at home, you won't know what you're missing. And it's easier than you might think. Today, I'm at Des in Soho, New York. I'm meeting with the chef and owner, Eden Grinshpan, who's an expert in all things Middle Eastern. We're gonna do a Des style. So I'm here with Eden, who's gonna show us how easy it is to make hummus. And after you make it, you're never gonna want to buy it again.
Totally. For me, actually, having fresh homemade hummus in your fridge is such, a great feeling. And everyone that comes over that eats it is always so impressed. It is so simple to make hummus at home. There's just a couple tricks that really separate good hummus from great hummus. What we're gonna start off with is chickpeas. So what we do at Des is we soak our chickpeas overnight because they're dry. Doesn't look super beautiful right now, but I promise you it'll be very creamy and delicious.
So tell me what you do with this. You soak it overnight.
You soak it overnight, and then you want to boil it with a little bit of baking soda, which helps tenderize the skins and actual chickpeas. And you want to boil until you pick up a chickpea and you kind of like pinch it with your finger and it's creamy. That's why some of it looks like unrecognizable. You want to make sure that it breaks down really well. I am not opposed to canned chickpeas. For me, I would rather make this recipe with canned chickpeas rather than buying already made hummus. And I do make it with canned chickpeas at home. Just make sure you buy the low sodium one, and after you pour it into a strainer, rinse it with water. I trust you. I mean, you said put me to work, I'm gonna put you to work.
I'm gonna work.
Now I'm going to add the garlic.
We love garlic.
Totally. Now we're gonna add in some kosher salt, some lemon juice. Beautiful. The chickpeas and the tahini are on the heavier side, so the lemon juice is like what elevates and brightens and gives that pop.
Yeah, because this can tend to dullness, right? If it doesn't have something to like spark it.
Absolutely. I'm going to add in the tahini. I love a really tahini smooth hummus, and that's why there's a lot of tahini in my hand. Tahini adds that velvety texture. It adds that nutty flavor. Basically what tahini is just ground sesames. So it's super rich. It has a little bit of a bitter flavor, but that's totally normal. It shouldn't be too bitter though. Like if you get a tahini that's really bitter, then it's not a great quality.
Are there any like brands that you recommend?
I love Soom. I feel like Soom does an incredible job. Then we slowly add in some ice water, which keeps it nice and creamy and light. Just because when you put the ice water mixed with tahini, kind of gives it a lighter, more velvety texture.
Oh, wow.
So I continued that with the hummus process here at Des.
That's a new trick for me because I've never heard that.
To put this sucker on. You ready? Here we go. And you can just let it go. Let it go.
What's your relationship with hummus?
Oh, wow. Well, it's a long relationship. I'm half Israeli. I think it's the most famous dish when you think of Middle Eastern food. The first time I had like proper hummus, and there's so many different ways of saying it.
Hummus, as I'm learning right
hummus,
now.
I'm saying it like always. I think it was at what they call in Israel Hummusia, which is a place that only serves hummus. And it's a lot of the time typically served warm because it's very fresh. And I just remember growing up and going to all these like kind of hole-in-the-wall hummusiyas in Tel Aviv mostly. It's just so interesting because the way we grew up eating it, it's something that you put on a table, you put like a bowl of it and you put some like crudité and everyone shares it. In Israel, you go for a meal of hummus. Everyone gets their own bowl of hummus and a pita and you just go to town. There's so many ways to eat hummus. And I think that's also what makes it so fun, is it's like a perfect base to so many different
You can
toppings.
customize it to whatever you want.
Like some people put shakshuka in their hummus, and it's vegan, and it's gluten-free. Everyone can eat it.
Yeah, it's perfect for
And
everybody.
it's full of protein and fiber. It's really good for you. I love it. My daughter, it's like one of the first things she ate.
Let's make hummus.
Let's do it.
Right?
The texture that you're looking for is a really light, airy, creamy texture. Come here. Let me show you. When you run your spoon through, it should also hold its shape. You see how it does that? Because when you put it in the bowl, you'll see you kind of do this swooshing technique so that all the things inside stay there, and then the sauce kind of like holds like above the rim, and then it goes inside the actual like well. It's a whole thing. So I'm gonna take some of this out, and I'll just show you. So you put it right into the bowl. And then I just take this.
Ooh.
Do you see how it kind of holds the shape on the sides? Like that's a really creamy, delicious hummus. This isn't the hummus that we grew up eating, which I think was really chunky and very thick. This is very light and airy. This, now we take the lemon vin and we put it around the sides and kind of let it do its thing. Jalapeno in there, olive oil, lemon juice, some garlic.
Wow.
And
How do
then-
you do that? Is it just like an infused oil or?
It's just like a vinaigrette. Like you just like
Oh, okay.
emulsify it in the oil. We throw it in a blender. And then we put on some toasted pine nuts. And this is Aleppo. So we don't serve this at Des, but this is just an example of what you can do at home.
When you have a plain hummus, you have your base and then the sky's the limit. So to make it extra special, to make it extra desi, we put beets in it?
Beets. Yeah, so we have some roasted beets. We roast all of our beets with some vinegar, a little bit of cardamom, sugar, salt, because I find that the vinegar gets infused into the beets and kind of gives it a brightness, whereas sometimes you eat beets and they can feel very like earthy.
It's like flat, sweet.
A little bit, and this elevates that and it really brightens it.
Adds a little bit extra layer of flavor and then just a beautiful coloring.
So this is the base of our beef hummus.
The best color ever.
Oh, beautiful. Our beet hummus. It does also add a little bit of a sweetness, which I really like. And then we play up the beet hummus flavor with adding more roasted beets to the top, vinaigrette, finishing it with pine nuts, fresh mint, and there you have it.
You teach me how to play one of those?
Yeah.
I want to learn the right way of
Oh, the swoosh?
the swoosh.
Let's do it. I move the bowl and then I keep the spoon still. You do a plop. Just do a plop.
Plop and
A plop and a schmear.
plop.
Yeah, a little bit more. You got it. Yes.
Like that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my
Nice.
God. You got it.
Kind of. And
It works. Here, you do it. I believe in you.
Thank you.
Put it right in the middle.
They look great.
And now you do the squeezy. Here, put it down. It's easier. Make sure you always shake the bottle really well before you do a squeezy. So you want to make sure everything gets blended properly. And a little in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle. And then
And now some pine nuts.
pine nuts.
And I'll grab you some mint. I love a baby, like the center mini baby herbs. I always say, let it fall wild. Don't place an herb, let it fall.
Right? It should have its own drop, like a leaf.
Exactly. You want it to look like it just fell there naturally. We're about to have a hummus feast. The beet hummus at Des, which is called Beet. It's the Beet Meze. And we have the traditional hummus that I just made for you guys because I wanted to show you the difference between the beet variation and the traditional variation.
And see how easy it is to bring a very basic one, just like use it up with a couple of things and then take it to a whole different level with this one.
I ripped the pita for you. And the pita here at Des is fluffy and warm. It's a completely different eating experience, which is just such a great, example of showing how different hummus can be
Totally.
with different things that you add. We're just gonna eat.
And I
We're
can't-
just sitting here being
I
like,
can't talk anymore. I think this is what's gonna happen to people cooking it at home, because once you make this, you have it out, you have your pita or your crudité, whatever you're gonna use to eat this with, you're gonna eat the whole thing.